welcome to another video in our home health aid training series. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the interview process. Now, there's a lot of general information about interviewing available online, so we're not going to waste too much time with general interviewing tips, but we are going to give you some. And then we're going to get into the specific sort of questions you are going to be asked as a home health aide. So for general tips, let's just keep it short. Be prepared for the interview. This means, knowing where you're going, knowing the company, go to their website and kind of see what they do. If you can find some history, go over that stuff so you kind of have an idea of what you're walking into. My favorite tip is to be on time, or if possible, about 15 minutes early. I can't tell you how many people, definitely lose out on a job because they just can't get to the interview on time. Once you're in the interview, you're going to want to be confident. That means making strong eye contact, having a good handshake, and all of those sort of nonverbal cues. But you're also going to want to be courteous and polite. No one wants to interview a guy who's a jerk. So do your best to present, your best face forward. And finally, make sure to practice your answers. So in a minute, we're going to go over the different kinds of questions you are going to receive at a home health aide interview. And now that you know, or at least, in a second, once you learn what those questions are, work on your answers and practice them. Maybe use a mirror. Some people like to do that, or, talk with a friend of yours or your parents or whatever. But, you're going to want to run through your answers so when it's time to actually give them your rehearse and they come off very smoothly. But once again, for general interview strategies and tips, just do a Google search and you'll find all kinds of great stuff. So, what kind of questions can you expect at a home health aide interview? And here's what you can look forward to in a general sense. Probably the most common question is, are you currently certified? And hopefully you answer yes, and you brought a copy of your current certification to the interview, so you can show that and prove, with evidence that you are in fact trained and that you have a level of competency in the treatment of older adults or other people who need home health aid services. The next question you might expect to receive, and this, sounds kind of funny, but they might ask if you have a current, healthcare clearance that's signed by a physician that confirms that you are free from tuberculosis and other communicable diseases. And, what they're trying to figure out is, when you're dealing with someone who needs a home health aide, they may not be in good health, or they may have compromised immune systems, and they don't want you passing anything on to them. So hopefully you answer yes to this as well, and you bring a copy of that certification to the interview as well. And when you bring these certifications and are prepared for these questions, it's going to leave a great impression. They're going to feel really confident, whether it's an agency or just an individual family, in hiring you. The next question you might expect is, are you a legal resident of the United States, or, at least you have work authorization such as a green card? And it's kind of a sensitive topic, but it's an important question to ask. And, some people might not really care, but other people, it's going to be important to them. So just make sure you're legal to work in the U.S. and you should have no problem. And finally, when they're kind of deciding that you might be the one, they may ask that if when you're hired, will you be willing to sign a contract? And basically, they want to, protect both themselves and you, because a contract will specify what duties you need to perform, and it'll clear up some of the ambiguities. So it's generally a good idea to sign a contract before entering into a work agreement. So, once they've asked us sort of formulaic kind of high-level questions, they may ask some slightly more personal questions. So, the first kind of question you probably will get is something along the lines of, why do you do this kind of work? And the person asking this question, their objective is to get a sense of who you are, what kind of person you are, and if you and the parent, will be comfortable and have a good relationship. They might be curious if you communicate effectively or have a sense of humor or are confident, and this is sort of a thing where you will need to be a good match with whoever's hiring you, but hopefully your great personality will shine through. Another question will be, have you ever cared for someone in a similar condition? Is there any aspect of my patient's condition that makes you uncomfortable? And this is so they can determine if you really grasp the reality of the situation and if you have the necessary experience to handle the home health aide care. A third question you could expect is something to determine, is there any part of this job description that we are presenting you with that you are uncomfortable with, or tasks that you can't or won't perform? This can be as simple as if the home health aide candidate has trouble lifting heavy boxes, depending on the situation, that could be an issue. Or, some home health aides refuse to do things like cooking and some of the more, homemaking type activities on the job. And these are things they're going to want to know. Another question you might expect is, do you, the home health aide, have any special needs or requests? Which, generally means, do you have any time commitments? They want to know if you need vacation or that kind of stuff, because obviously if you're being hired to care for somebody, they're going to be looking for a level of consistency, but also, they need to know when you're not going to be around. And finally, they may ask you to provide references. Usually that comes in at 3, and you can expect that they will contact your references. So ultimately, once you have proven that you meet the technical criteria of the job, what most people are looking for is a compassionate and caring person who really wants to help. And if it's an agency, they're going to want to see additionally that you are interested in working in healthcare. If you show this to your interviewer and prove to them that this is your career and a passion and not just a job, you're going to do great. Alright, well that concludes the training provided by homehealthaidetrainingsource.com. We hope you have enjoyed this series of videos, and if you have any questions, just head on over to our website and post a comment, or hit us up on the contact form and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.